जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जना बल्लभ गिरिवर नारी, यशोधनंदन व्रज जनरंजन, यशोधनंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपाद, जय प्रभुपाद, प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद, जय गुरुदेवा, जय गुरुदेवा, गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा। निताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल गौर हरि। हाय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल। गौर भक्त वृंद की गौर गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखावितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। महा वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। सबका स्वागत है। वेलकम टू एवरीवन। I will recite. श्री इशोपनिषद मंगलाचरण। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णम् उदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथा मा गृधः कस्य स्विद्धनं कुर्वन्नेवेह कर्माणि यजीविशेषतं समाः एवं त्वयि नान्यथेतुस्ति न कर्म लिप्यते नरे। सूर्यनाम ते लोका अन्धेन तमसावृताः तांस्ते प्रेत्याभिगच्छन्ति ये केचात्महनो जनाः। अनेजदेकं मनसो जवीयो नयनदेव आप्नुवं पूर्वमर्श तद्धावतोऽन्यानत्येति तिष्ठत् तस्मिन्नपो मातरिश्वा ददाति। तद्देजति तन्नेजति तद्दूरे तदवन्तिके तदन्तरस्य सर्वस्य तदु सर्वास्यस्य बाह्यतः। यस्तु सर्वाणि भूतानि आत्मन्येवानुपश्यति सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं ततो न विजुगुप्सते। यस्मिन् सर्वाणि भूतानि एवात्मभूद्विजानतः तत्र को मोहकः शोक एकत्वम् अनुपश्यतः। सपर्यगा शुक्रमकाय वर्णम् अस्नावीरं शुद्धं पापविद्धं कविर्मनीषी परिभू स्वयंभूर् याथात्यथतो अर्थान् व्यदधात् शाश्वतीभ्यः समाभयः। अंधं तमः प्रविशन्ति ये विद्यामुपासते ततो भूय इव ते तमो यौ विद्ययामृताः। अन्यदेवाहुर्विद्यया अन्यदाहुरविद्यया इति शुश्रुमधीराणां येनस्तद्विचक्षिरे। विद्यां च यस्तद्वेदो भयं सः अविद्यां मृत्युतीर्त्वा विद्ययामृतमश्नुते। अंधं तमः प्रविशन्ति ये सम्भूतिमुपासते ततो भूय इव ते तमो यौ सम्भूत्यामृताः। अन्यदेवाहु संभवाद् अन्यदाहुरसंभवात् इति शुश्रुमधीराणां येनस्तद्विचक्षिरे। सम्भूतिं च विनाशं च यस्तद्वेदो भयं सः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा सम्भूत्यामृतमश्नुते। हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वं पूषणम् अपावृणु सत्यधर्माय दृष्टये। पूषण्यकर्षेयं सूर्य प्राजापत्य व्यूयः रश्मिन् समूह तेजो यत्ते रूपं कल्याणतमं तत्ते पश्यामि योऽसावसो पुरुषः सुखमस्मि। वायुर्नीलम् अमृतम् अथेदं भस्मान्तं शरीरम् ॐ क्रतो स्मर कृतं स्मर क्रतो स्मर कृतं स्मर अग्नेनय सुपथाराय अस्मान् विश्वानि देव वयुनानि विद्वान् योध्यस्मजुहरान् मेनो भूयिष्ठां ते नम उक्तिं विधेम। ॐ तत्सत्। So we were discussing the 10th mantra yesterday, and the section is going on comparison or comparative study between Vidya and Avidya. So 10th mantra says what result would come if we worship Avidya and what result would come if we worship Vidya, if we follow Vidya. So now 11th mantra today we are going to begin. So that is going to talk about balancing Avidya and Vidya grants immortality. So as we have been discussing, this avidya is not materialistic knowledge for sense gratification, but this is materialistic knowledge to keep ourselves hell and healthy, so that we can achieve the purpose of going back home, back to Godhead. So we also need to care for our body. So there is necessity for food, clothing, shelter, not for sense gratification, but little amount of that also is required. Yes. So we'll discuss this in today's mantra. Where is it? This is a 12, this is 13. Okay. 11 I have to open. Vidyam cha vidyam cha yas tadvedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyayamritam ashnute. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. Okay. So, okay, we can clearly understand that we have to balance between process of nescience and transcendental knowledge. Both we have to, like we know that the railway has two track, means two rails are there, rail lines on which the train runs. Yes. So if it imbalances, so then it may become totally derailed from the railway line, and then many people may die. So the both have to be cultivated side by side. And then what happens? What is the result? One can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death. Okay, Sri Gangaputra Prabhuji, can you read? From here you can read the heading and then the paragraph. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Jiva's thirst for eternal life cannot be quenched by advancement of material knowledge. Since the creation of the material world, everyone has been trying to attain permanent life, but the laws of nature are so cruel that no one has been able to avoid the hand of death. No one wants to die, nor does anyone want to become old or diseased. The law of nature, however, does not allow anyone immunity for old age, disease, or death, nor has the advancement of material knowledge solved these problems. Material science can discover the nuclear bomb to accelerate the process of death, but it cannot discover anything that can protect man from the cruel hands of old age, disease, and death.
Okay.
Shall I continue, Prajay?
No, we'll discuss now.
Yeah.
So Srila Prabhupada is saying that everyone is trying for permanent life, but material nature is so cruel that it defeats this the purpose or our expectation. It defeats us. Parabhavastavat abodhajato. It always keeps on defeating us. So none of us can get immunity from old age, disease, death, and birth also. None of the advancement of material knowledge can solve these problems. And Prabhupada is going to give the further things why it is so. Who has tried and they have failed also. Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead. Hiranyakashipu futile attempt to become immortal by his material acquisitions and the strength of his nescience. Yes, go ahead.
From the Puranas, we learn of the activities of Hiranyakashipu, a king who was very much advanced materially, wanting to conquer cruel death by his material acquisitions and the strength of his nescience. He underwent a type of meditation so severe that the inhabitants of the all planetary systems become disturbed by his mystic power. He, creator of the universe, the demigod Brahma, to come down to him. He then asked Brahma for the benediction of becoming Amar, by which one does not die. Brahma said that he could not award the benediction becomes even benediction because even he, the material creator who rules all planets, is not Amar, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.17. Brahma lives a long life, but that does not mean he is immortal. Hiranya means gold, and Kashyapa means soft bed. This cunning gentleman
Now, from here,
he wanted to enjoy them by becoming immortal. He asked from Brahma many benediction in hopes of indirectly fulfilling his desire to become immortal. Since Brahma told him that he could not grant the gift of immortality, Hiranyakashipu requested that he not be killed by any man, animal, God, or any. Sorry, Guruji, there's some disturbance. God or any other living beings within the 84 lakhs of species. He also asked that he not die on land, in air or water, or by any weapons. In this way, Hiranyakashipu foolishly thought these guarantees would save him from the death. Ultimately, however, although Brahma granted him all these benedictions, he was killed by the personality of Godhead in the form of Narsimha, the Lord's half lion, half man incarnation, and no weapons was used to kill him, for he was killed by the Lord's nails, nor was he killed on the land, in the air, or in the water, for he was killed on the lap of that wonderful living being, Narsimha, who was beyond this conception.
Yes, okay. So, in order to prove this, what Prabhupada is saying here, that no advancement of material knowledge can solve this problem of birth, death, old age, and disease. He gives a story of a very hardcore materialist who tried to almost solve the problem. Almost he was able to solve. Means he had changed the laws of nature. He had made the laws that those who will do pious activity, they will go to hell, and those who do sinful activity, they will go to the heaven. He had made all the such changes. Hiranyakashipu could control the sun, could control the Indra, all the gods, except Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. He did not approach them, but besides them, all the gods and all the planets were under him. Even Bhrigu, even Narada, they have to praise him. So that was the situation. So he was totally like a emperor of the universe. So he could do all such things. What a materialist can aspire, he can go anywhere, he can enjoy anything. He had no restriction because he was so powerful. And it's not that, okay, now Brahma, Lord Shiva is going to come down and kill him. No. Already he was benedicted in such a way that nobody was thinking how, nobody could think that how he would be killed. Then ultimately, after getting frustrated, they went to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu told, do not worry, my devotee, pure devotee, is going to take birth into his family, and the time when he wants to torture my pure devotee, that time I will appear and finish him without delay. And Lord Narsimhadev came because of Hiranyakashipu trying to trouble Lord's pure devotee Prahlad. And Lord effortlessly just tore apart his chest. And Keshavadhita Narasimha Rupa, Jaya Jagadisha Hari, Narahari Rupa. So this is a thing. So Prabhupada is giving none of the teeny or tiny Hiranyakashipus like those materialists who are trying to advance in material knowledge and conquer over death can do so, because already in Puranic stories we are hearing The Hiranyakashipu, he could not achieve such. So what to speak of others? So Prahlad Maharaj, there is a verse in the 7th canto, 7.9.24. I will open and show. तस्मादमुस्तनुभृतामहमाशिचोग्यो आयुश्रियं विभवम् ऐन्द्रियम् आविरिञ्चात् नेच्छामि ते विलुलितानुरुविक्रमेण कालात्मनोपनय मां निजभृत्तपार्श्वम्. My dear Lord, now I have complete experience concerning the worldly opulence, mystic power, longevity, and other material pleasures enjoyed by all living entities from Lord Brahma down to the ant. As powerful time you destroy all them all. Therefore, because of my experience, I do not wish to possess them. My dear Lord, I request you to place me in touch with your pure devotee and let me serve him as a sincere servant. Now, Prahlad Maharaj was asked by Narsimdev, you please ask something. You ask something. But he's saying, my father was greatest mystic yogi because he could conquer all the mystics yoga. He got all mystic yogas with him. He got all the opulences also, material opulence. He got all kind of commodities and samrajya and the things to enjoy. Everything he got. But kalatmano means by the force of the time, because now his time had come and he has to leave away. He has to give up everything and then go away. So you, Uru Vikramena, performer of big or astonishing activities, my dear Lord, you Bilulitan means you finished him. खत्म कर दिया उसको. मतलब अगर भगवान की इच्छा है तो जितना भी बड़ा howsoever big that person may be with all material qualification, Lord will finish him in no time. Finish. Kalatmano panaya. So by the force of the time, everything is finished. And he is a master of that time. So Prahlad Maharaj said, therefore I do not want all such things because they are anyway temporary. They are coming today and going tomorrow. So what is the use of working so hard to please that God and then asking such benediction which is temporary? What is the use of such things? So therefore he's saying, I have just now experienced that my father, God died in your lap. He had all such mystic siddhi and opulences. He was finished effortlessly by you. I don't want. So one time, one Srila Prabhupada asked, one person asked Srila Prabhupada that, Swamiji, why I should surrender to God? So Srila Prabhupada said, you should not, I'm not speaking you to surrender to God, you first surrender to Maya, this material nature. Why I should surrender to him or material nature? So then Swamiji said that, do you want to get old? No, Swamiji. So then old age will come to you. So yes, but that is Swamiji, that is biological force, that is coming by some biological force. So yes, that biological force is Maya, that material nature, you have to surrender to it. Do you want to get disease? No, I don't want. But again, you have to surrender to the disease. You have to get disease. So many times people are fearful, we don't surrender to God. But even if you don't surrender to God, there is surrender already kept for us. Material nature is very much powerful. And material nature, as Srila Prabhupada says, these are the fourfold miseries, birth, death, old age, disease. And the miseries are continuous. Then again, threefold miseries are what? Kleshas, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, and Adhyatmik. Miseries given by our body and mind, miseries given by others, miseries given by supernatural powers or the demigods. So then these are constant. In between these four miseries are there, birth, death, old and disease. In between these things come. So a person can think, okay, I have now been born. Now after very long years I will become old, and disease, I have so many doctors, I will eat fine food, so I will not get disease, and death, it may come very late, so therefore I am now happy. He may think like that. But then adhyatmic, klesh given by his body, mind. Then adi bhautik, all the miseries given by the other people, other living entities. And then the devatas, they also give miseries. We see like somebody performing Asomegya, and then Lord Indra comes and then hides away the horse only. And the whole sequence of like in Surya Vansa, Sagar Maharaj, 60,000 son. What was their fault? They simply carried the horse. Aswamegya, they wanted to carry the horse throughout the whole world. And then Lord Indra thought that if this person would perform 100 yagya, Aswamegya, then he may become Indra. So then he took the horse and he hid it into the Kapil Muni ashram. And then these 60,000 sons were just frantically searching for that horse. Where is that horse? And they dig all the oceans what we see today. According to Puranas, it is said that these all oceans were dug by the sons of Sagar Maharaj, 60,000 sons. All Atlantic, Pacific, all oceans were dug by them. So much hard work. And ultimately they found it there. So what was there? They did not fight with Indra. Somehow it happened in their life. And that is Sagar Maharaj was not sinful king. He was a pious king. But it happened even to the pious person. So what we speak of sinful person? He will die by the laws of nature only. So even good people are thwarted with the miseries, and they have to also do a lot of prayashchita to overcome their faults, or try to overcome the troubles. So the Texas oil industry millionaire, when he got 72-year-old, so the doctor told him, now you are already 72, very few years are remaining for you. You may die anytime. So then he said, hurry, I should not die. I have so many projects to do. So he said, you all doctors, you just find out what is this aging process. I want to stop this aging process. This should not happen. So then he gave a lot of millions of dollars to them. Just research out. So these people researched out, and it came into Indian Express actually, newspaper, that what is the aging process. So aging process, according to science, aging process means there are two kinds of cells in us. So one, aging means the number of the cells regenerating or taking birth in our body, they are more, and number of cells, those who are dying, they are lesser. So then it means he's getting young. If the number of dying cell is more than the number of taking births than them, so then he will be aging. But opposite to that, he will be dying actually. He's getting young. And understanding, if the number of cells which are dying, so then he is aging faster. And number of cells which are taking birth lesser than the dying cell, so then he is aging. But if the number of cells we are taking birth in our body are more than the dying cells, so then we are growing. So in childhood, the number of cells which are taking birth in our body are more. So therefore we grow. The 6 kind of changes. We take birth, then there is a growth, maintenance, reproduction, dwindling, and death. The 6 changes are there with all living entities in this material world. Otherwise, the matter, it undergoes 3 changes. It is created, it dwindles, and then finishes. During pralaya time, it finishes. So matter undergoes 3 changes. If matter is not covering the spirit, or spirit is not there in the matter, so then matter undergoes 3 changes: creation, then dwindling, and then death. And we, living entity, having spirit inside and then material body outside. So material body undergoes 6 changes. We take birth, then there is a growth, then there is a maintenance, and the reproduction, and there is dwindling and death. Finish. So these 6 changes are there in all. And these changes, nobody could stop. So then these doctors, they performed experiment, and they said that this aging process cannot be stopped. And later they also performed research by seeing the genetics, everything. So they also declared ultimately that no therapy, no medicine, nothing can stop the aging process. And if you try to stop it, it will dismantle the whole bodily function. Because what is our generally in modern science, how they want to solve the material problems, they want to look for what is the cause for this problem, and then they want to finish that cause. So in the body, what is that causing the generation of new cell and dying of old cells. What is that? So they want to finish that cause. But then they researched that if you finish this, then the whole bodily function will be dismantled. So then they declared, no, Baba, you should not do. Otherwise, the person will die only, or some many different complications may come out in his body. So nobody can stop this actually. The cosmetic industries, they are booming because of fear of old age. Yes, like they make 80-year-old women to look like 18-year-old. So why? Because they are fearful of old age. So Hiranyakashipu, he also tried. He was fearful of death. That's why he prayed to Lord Brahma, make me immortal. But Brahma said, I am myself is not immortal. How can I make you as immortal? So material science has become failed. Materialists who have performed tapasya, they have become failed. So now Srila Prabhupada is going to reveal some other things. So we'll read ahead. Yes, who can read? Yes, Jai Shri Radha Devidasi Mataji. Can you read? From here. Heading se padiyega. Futility.
Actually, sorry, Prabhuji. Actually, today I have joined on mobile. So the letters are too small for me. So next time, definitely I will read. Sorry. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Isha Mataji, Isha.
Yes,
Sukhdevi Mataji. You can read heading and then the paragraph.
Yeah. Futility of one-sided attempts in becoming immortal. The whole point here is that even Hiranyakashipu, the most powerful of materialistics, could not become deathless by his various plans. What then can be accomplished by the tiny Hiranyakashipus of today, whose plans are tethered from the moment to moment? Sri Upanishad instruct us not to make one-sided attempt to win the struggle of our existence. Everyone is struggling hard for existence, but the laws of material nature are so hard and fast that they do not allow anyone to surpass them. In order to attain a permanent life, one must be prepared to go back home, to go back to Godhead.
Yes. Okay, we'll discuss now. So this is a solution mentioned here. The whole point is nobody can make solution of material misery by counteracting it in a material way. Nobody can do it. Whosoever he may be, either he is a Hiranyakashipu or scientist or any Tom, Dick, Harry tomorrow comes out with a new technology saying that now we will make you deathless, immortal. That is not going to happen because Maya is supported by Lord himself. So it's whose energy? Devi Maya. Is my Mam Maya, Duratyaya. Devi Maya. So she is the energy of Lord himself. And Lord has made certain laws that how living entity would come out from this material nature by preparing themselves to go back home, back to Godhead. So this one-sided attempt is what? Just to make material advancement of knowledge and all facilities so that we can live here very happily, permanently. So this attempt is not successful. It is foolish attempt. Like Darwin, he said what? Struggle for the fittest. Those who have read. But even Darwin also died. So he was just teaching that those who struggle to live here, they will be living. But he will live for some years. Again, he will also die. Again, he has to take another birth. So he did not discuss this eternal problem. But the eternal problem is whosoever, even he is a fit person or he is non-fit person. Like recently, some very hefty bodybuilder, he died. 30-year age, he died. 30 years only. So I was thinking, he spent so much time in making his body. And he died in 30 years only. Because of some neck problem. He died. The reality. So he wasted his time actually. He thought that nobody can beat me in the boxing arena or in the wrestling arena. Nobody can beat him. Yes, correct. but he was just beaten by a small problem in his neck. Finish. So Maya does not need a big, you can say, big weapon to defeat or to kill the body. Maya just need a small trick or a small click. थोड़ा सा इधर कर दिया ना, गया वो हॉस्पिटल में जाएगा और वहां मर जाएगा. We have to understand our vulnerability, how much we are vulnerable. Means we are too much fragile. We are living with the breath. If this breath is stopped at any place, this whole system is there, we will die immediately. If our heart attack comes, nobody knows how the heart attack comes. Means there are some things are there, but who can stop it? Okay, now I may not get heart attack. No, it can come anytime. So therefore, any attempt, either going to gym, doing yoga, yogasanas, or like somebody is claiming by yogasanas we can increase your lifespan. But again, at a certain period you have to die. After a certain period, yes, you have to die. So people have tendency, all of us also have tendency that we want to live as long as we can. We want to drag on living. Why? Because living entity is eternal, and he himself understands that I am eternal, but he's not able to understand this truth that he cannot be eternal here with this body. He has to get out of this body and go somewhere else where he can have a spiritual body, and there he's eternal forever. But this knowledge has to be there with the living entity. This is what Prabhupada is mentioning here. He has to prepare himself for going back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise, one-sided attempt, just like Charvak Muni. What was his philosophy? Rinam kritva ghritam pivet yavat jive sukham jivet bhasmi bhutasya dehasya kuta punaragamo bhavet. So most of the materialist people, they think like this. He was a Charvak. He was an atheist of Vedic times. We have an atheist of modern times. So he used to say, the Rinam kritva, you can take, beg, borrow, and or steal, whatever. Debt mein le lo. Paisa nahi hai, take from others. And then enjoy. How to enjoy? At least he said not to eat meat. He was saying that ghritam pivet, drink ghee. Nowadays ghee is also not Suddha ghee. Only in the name ghee is Suddha. And yavat jive sukham jive, jaise bhi jeena hai, live happily. So the two formula of materialist is what? Beg, borrow, and steal, eat, drink, and be merry. This is the two formula they follow. Eat, drink, and be merry, and beg, borrow, and steal. So beg, borrow, and steal is given by this Charvak Muni. Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya. Who has seen that this body will become bhasma one day? After death, it will be burnt. So who has seen the next life? Kutah punaragamo bhavet. Kisne dekha kya agla जीवन? So if you have not seen next life, so better enjoy in this life by beg, borrow, and steal, drink ghee, eat nice chapatis with the ghee, and like we hear the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the rice was there, upon that ghee was put, so we can eat nicely. And then he's saying that you may die. At least he's not saying you will not die. He's saying you will die, but who has seen the next life? He's at least that much understanding. So he's not worried about living with the second attempt of making a spiritual advancement. He's saying live happily, just don't worry about next life. So this is atheistic philosophy. And materialists of today, they think that we will not die only. We'll find out such a solution that we'll run away from death, or we'll cheat death. So there are many stories, funny stories of cheating death. But we'll go ahead. Yes. Jagdanand Krishna Prabhuji, are you there? Jayanand, sorry. Okay. Who's there? Ranjana Ravindranath Mataji. Can you read from here? Immortality is possible only by following Krishna teaching. Yes.
Immortality is possible only by following Krishna teachings. Maya mugda jivera nahi swata Krishna jnana jivera kripaya kaila Krishna Veda Purana. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 122. The process by which one goes back to Godhead is a different branch of knowledge, and it has to be learned from the revealed Vedic scriptures such as Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. To become happy in this life and attain a permanent blissful life after leaving this material body, one must study the sacred literature and obtain transcendental knowledge. The conditioned living being has forgotten his eternal relationship with God and has mistakenly accepted the temporary place of his birth as all in all. The Lord has kindly delivered the above mentioned scriptures in India and other scriptures in other countries to remind the forgetful human being that his home is not here in this material world. The living being is a spiritual entity and he can be happy only by returning to his spiritual home.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Lord, out of his causeless mercy, sends his devotees and appears himself to reclaim the jivas. From his kingdom, the personality of Godhead sent his bona fide servants to propagate this message by which one can return to Godhead. And sometimes the Lord comes himself to do this work. Since all living beings are his beloved sons, his parts and parcels, God is more sorry than we ourselves to see the sufferings we are constantly undergoing in this material condition. The miseries of this material world serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility with the dead matter. Intelligent living entities generally take note of these reminders and engage themselves in the culture of Vidya or transcendental knowledge. Human life is the best opportunity for the culture of spiritual knowledge, and a human being who does not take advantage of this opportunity is called a Naradhama, the lowest of the human being.
Yes, okay, we'll discuss. So, this is a very important thing. Forgetful human being. So, many times, while training children, I heard from devotees, they said that we are training our children, but now they are bored with chanting holy names. Now they don't want to come to temple. They say that, Papa, Mama, if you want to go for visiting some good place, don't go to temple. Let us go somewhere else. So if that becomes the regular talk or regular expectation of child from the parents, no temple, I don't want to go to temple. So then one should not become lenient in this sense. One should understand there is forgetfulness is happening now. Like when we forget something which is very important, it is reminded by our teacher or by parents. Yes, again and again. So the children, they don't read Vedic literature. They just hear in the form of stories, in the form of some art and culture. They are introduced to the Krishna consciousness. But they have not developed the intelligence. The intelligence is still not developed, like pragya. So pragya buddhi. Kamara acharit pragya. Pragya means sufficient intelligence which can determine what is good, what is bad. So that has not come to them right now. So they are having some intelligence to ask questions, but really what is good for them, they have to choose this thing. That buddhi has not come. So therefore, it's a duty of guru and parents to remind them in different ways, make it more enjoyable and experienceable, but not to think that leave him, he is not coming or she is not coming, so leave him. No, again it is mentioned, forgetful human being. It happens to those who are initiated. Therefore, like before initiation, we are so eager. I want to surrender to Guru. I want to chant the holy names. After initiation, after many years of initiation, what is this? Today I have a lot of seva, or I have a lot of bodily pain, or I have so much disease, so I cannot come for arti. I cannot chant my rounds. I have this problem, that problem. Again, forgetful living entity has to be reminded again and again. Maya mugdha jivere nahi swatah Krishna. Yeah. Jiva cannot liberate himself by his alone effort. He has to take help of Krishna or Krishna's mercy. So we'll read from this Chaitan Charitamrita Madhya 122. Okay. One minute. माया मुग्ध जीवेर नहीं स्वतः कृष्ण ज्ञान जीवेर कृपा कैला Krishna Veda Puran. The conditioned soul cannot revive his Krishna consciousness by his own effort, but out of causeless mercy, Lord Krishna compiled the Vedic literature and it supplements the Puranas. This is true. We cannot revive our Krishna consciousness by our own effort. Even somebody becomes Jnani also. The highest position somebody can achieve in this material world is a yogi by his own effort. Beyond that, he cannot go. Or Jnani, Neti Neti. So, by our own effort, we can only come to know that absolute truth is not material. But we cannot know his spiritual qualities. That has to be revealed by the Lord himself. We can only negate. Neti Neti. Okay, spiritual. I am Brahmasmi. But who, what I do, how I look like, whether I have spiritual qualities, I cannot know about it. So, therefore, the Vedic literature are the mercy of the Lord. They have to explain all these things because they are transcendental. They will explain what is the Lord, what is Jiva, what are their qualities, what are their activities. So, like this. Shastra Guru Atma Rupe Apanare Janana Krishna Mora Prabhu Trata Jivera Jnana. The forgetful conditioned soul is educated by Krishna through the Vedic literature, the realized spiritual master and super soul. Now, what are the three things he has spoken? Vedic literature means Shastra Guru Atma. Atma means super soul. Okay. Shastra Guru Atma, these three entities are teaching every living entity what? About Krishna or about spiritual knowledge. Through these, he can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is, and he can understand that Lord Krishna is his eternal master. Krishna Mora Prabhu. Krishna is Mora Prabhu. He can understand by accepting instructions from Guru, Atma, and Shastra. Okay. And deliverer from the clutches of Maya. In this way, one can acquire real knowledge of his conditioned life and can come to understand how to attain liberation. So see, without their help, one cannot attain liberation, or here liberation means going back to Godhead. So he cannot attain that liberation without help of spiritual master, Vedic literature, and super soul, Paramatma inside our heart. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, that Krishna, he has come in the form of Vedic literature and Guru and Paramatma to liberate us from this material world. So we have to always remind ourselves that yes, I am already forgetful living entities. It's not that I practice bhakti for these many years, so I will never forget once again. No, unless you step your 1 feet in the spiritual world, you cannot be assured that Maya will not attack. The feet should be there. Then only you can it's not easy thing. One cannot play with Maya anytime. One has to keep at least 1 feet in spiritual world. Okay, now I am assured that now Krishna will pull me if I even go here and there. So to that much extent, one should be advanced. And anyway, nobody has to play with Maya. Everybody knows that what is Maya. Later stage, one understands Maya is the Krishna Dasi. She is simply trying to serve Krishna. And she is troubling living entity. Why? Because she wants them to become sincere servant of Krishna, and they are not trying to become. So therefore, her duty is like that. She's like a police, catching all the criminals, punishing them, and then sending to some realized soul, is Guru, so that they can learn. Another thing Srila Prabhupada mentions in this paragraph, that we have incompatibility with material nature. The miseries of material world that serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility with dead matter. So yes, so the miseries can directly, also we can come to know through Guru. So Guru will speak Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, all other things he will speak from the Vedic literature. So this is a direct understanding that there is a misery in this world. If we cannot understand, we want to see, so then experience the misery. So there Prabhupada here says, ki those misery which we experience, we understand that I cannot live here for longer. Lot of problems are there. So it is incompatible with dead matter. So we are incompatible because we are spirit. We cannot be gelling with this matter. Okay, we'll go ahead. Yes, who can read now? Yes, Arun Prabhu, can you read?
Yes, Prabhu. Sense gratification. Third, sense gratification binds us to mortality, so restricted. The path of avidya or advancement of material knowledge for sense gratification is the path of repeated birth and death. As he exists spiritually, the living entity has no birth or death. Birth and death apply to the outward covering of the spirit of the body. Death is compared to the taking off and birth to the putting on of outward garments. Foolish human beings who are grossly absorbed in the culture of avidya nations do not mind this cruel process. Enamored with the beauty of the illusory energy, they undergo the same misery repeatedly and do not learn any lessons from the laws of nature. Therefore, the culture of vidya or transcendental knowledge is essential for the human being. Since enjoyment is the deceived material condition must be restricted as far as possible. Unrestricted sense enjoyment in this bodily condition is the path of ignorance and death. The living entities are not without spiritual senses. Every living being in his original spiritual form has all the senses which are now materially manifested being covered by the material body and mind. The activities of the material senses are perverted reflections of the activities of the original spiritual senses. In his deceased condition, the spirit soul engages in material activities under the material covering. Real sense enjoyment is possible only when the disease of materialism is removed. In our pure spiritual form, free from all material contamination, real enjoyment of the senses is possible. A patient must regain his health before he can truly enjoy sense pleasure again. Thus, the aim of human life should not be to enjoy perverted sense enjoyment, but to cure the material disease. Aggravation of the material disease is no sign of knowledge, but a sign of avidya, ignorance. For a good health, a person should not increase his fever from 105 degrees to 107 degrees, but should reduce his temperature to the normal 98.6. That should be the aim of human life. The modern trend of material civilization is to increase the temperature of the feverish material condition, which has reached the point of 107 degrees in the form of atomic energy. Meanwhile, the foolish politicians are trying that at any moment the world may go to hell. That is the result of the advancement of material knowledge and the neglect of the most important part of life, the culture of spiritual knowledge. The Ishopanishad herein warns that we must not follow this dangerous path of leading to death. On the contrary, we must develop the culture of spiritual knowledge so that we may become completely free from cruel hands of death.
Okay. So sense gratification binds us to mortality and so restricted. So sense gratification is a problem in this material world. That is why, because we think that we are senses, we are made up of senses, but above the senses is mind, above mind is intelligence, and above intelligence is soul. So actual enjoyment is of the soul. The rest of what is there, body, mind, and intelligence, they are material. And we are covered by these things, and material consciousness is also covering us. So therefore, we are thinking the real enjoyment is through body. And then, how much body can enjoy? Body cannot enjoy much. Body has limitation. Body is already undergoing the 6 changes. The birth, growth, maintenance, reproduction. Already it is dwindling, in the wave of dwindling. Sometimes it grows like this and then dwindles. Yes, and even the body is a new also. It has certain capacity. It cannot enjoy unlimitedly. So therefore, Shastra also says that sometimes you may think that body is able to enjoy, and then we provide the enjoyment, and later it suffers. That time suffering may not come. Later it will suffer. And sometimes people already are suffering, so they cannot enjoy. So they think, okay, some restriction has to be there. So they understand at least. But still, they may enjoy in some other way, some sinful way. So here Prabhupada mentions that what is stopping us in this material world is desire for sense gratification. And this desire for sense gratification has to be restricted. Therefore, the Vedic path was to regulate it. Vedic path was a balanced path. It would give dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So dharma was there to balance, to make everything sublime. But whatever we do, it has to be connected with God. That is dharma, means connecting the thing. But then dharma, artha, kama, moksha, earlier. So artha and kama is to fulfill the desire of living entity. And dharma and moksha is from Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, you want to do your two things and I will give you two things. So you combine 2 plus 2, 4 and live happily. That was the whole program from Vedic literature. But the living entity like Hiranyakashipu here making attempt for only artha and kama. Artha means money and kama means, here it is said, Hiranya means gold and Kashipu means software. Means he wants to enjoy kama and he wants to enjoy money. So people are aspiring to enjoy or endeavoring to enjoy this artha and kama, and therefore they do adharmic activity. Adharmic means they try to enjoy in any way. So it is said that asa pasa satair vadhe kam krodha parayana. The demonic quality is this. And then anyayena artha sanchaya. Anyway, he wants to do artha sanchaya, means illegal way, legal. He does not want to look, okay, मैं legal way में कुछ कर रहा हूँ या illegal way में कर रहा हूँ. No, he does not want to restrict himself. Restriction means do everything in a legal way. That is restriction. But he does not want to follow. So when he does not want to follow this basic principle of dharma to control his irregulated habits and bring it under some regulation, so then how he can balance? How he can balance with the God-given 2 item and his 2 desires? He cannot balance, and so then what happens? He falls to more misery. As Srila Prabhupada is saying, we are increasing our temperature from 105 to 107. This is what? Unrestricted enjoyment. I will just say in today's time, it's not that it is said that you cannot eat, you cannot sleep, you cannot have sex, you cannot defend. It is not said like that. It is a necessity for every living entity, but they have to be done with certain purpose. Like it is said quite often that we live to eat or we eat to live. This proverb, we live to eat. Some people live to eat and some people eat to live. So then we have to transform or we have to make journey from living to eat, go from here to we are eating so that we can live. Yeah, from here to there we have to go. So we have to understand that our permanent life is not here. Our permanent life is in spiritual world. So all these activity, what we are doing, it has to be done in a moderate way, not increase too much. And at the same time, not decrease totally, because again, temperature mentioned here, our normal temperature is 98.6 Fahrenheit, bodily temperature. So it should not be below it and it should not be increasing also. So anyone who is trying to enjoy unrestrictedly in diseased condition, like his temperature is 105, okay? Now, if somebody's temperature is 105, he has to automatically understand that I have to eat medicine, I cannot eat fine food, I have to be under observance of doctor. So then he has to take more precautions to get okay first. And then when he becomes 98.6, then he will have a lot of freedom to enjoy. Yes. So here, again, it does not mean to say that once your body is hell and healthy, it means to say once you come to the right consciousness, right self-realization, then you will know what is my real enjoyment. And then we have full freedom. Na shochati, na kamshati, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. That time, when we come to that level, that consciousness, that real self-realization, we come to know the real enjoyment is at the level of soul, not at the level of body. So this is the curing of disease. Meaning of this is curing of disease means coming to that level actually. Not that we become hell and healthy and then we start enjoying once again. No, this is wrong things. So this balance method has to be followed. Prabhupada says, therefore, the culture of Vidya is essential for the human being. This is very, very important to teach this to college students or to householders or to any section of the people wherever they are. Why? Because everybody is trying to understand this material world is all in all, and we will enjoy and we'll be happy with this understanding. Everybody, most of the people, everyone has. Like many times people ask question, why we have to serve God? Now this culture of Vidya, that is why it is required. If we do not serve God or we follow culture of Vidya, automatically we will drive ourselves towards unrestricted material enjoyment, unrestricted. And then what will happen? We'll become more diseased. We'll become more materially conditioned. And we will lose everything actually. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada, as Acharya is telling, the Vedic path is like that. We have to balance culture of Vidya and Avidya. Don't decrease the temperature, totally finish it off. No, we cannot immediately stop material sense enjoyment. But moderate it, regulate it, and then also have a spiritual plan. Like we have material plan, we should have a spiritual plan of growth also, both. Okay. Aparadharma teaches us how to balance material and spiritual side. This does not mean that all activities for the maintenance of the body should be stopped. There is no question of stopping activity, just as there is no question of wiping out one's temperature altogether when trying to recover from the disease. To make the best use of bad bargain is the appropriate expression. The culture of spiritual knowledge necessitates that the help of the body and the mind. Therefore, maintenance of the body and mind is required if we are to reach our goal. The normal temperature should be maintained at 98.6 degree. And the great sages and saints of India have attempted to do this by balanced program of spiritual and material knowledge. They never allow the misuse of human intelligence for diseased sense gratification. Human activities diseased by tendency towards sense gratification have been regulated in Vedas under the principle of salvation. This system employs religion, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation. But at present moment, people have no interest in religion or salvation. They have only one aim in life, sense gratification. And in order to achieve this end, they make plan for economic development. So for Kama, they will do Artha. Okay, misguided men think that religion should be maintained because it contributes to the economic development, which is required for sense gratification. Thus, in order to guarantee further sense gratification after death in heaven, there is some system of religious observance. But this is not the purpose of religion. The path of religion is actually meant for self-realization, and economic development is required just to maintain the body in sound, healthy condition. A man should lead a healthy life with a sound mind just to realize Vidya, knowledge, which is the aim of human life. This life is not meant for working like an ass or for culturing Avidya for sense gratification. Very clearly mentioned once again. So, people, धर्मस्य ही अपवर्गस्य नार्थो अर्थायो कल्पते नार्थेषु धर्मेव कान्तस्य कामो लाभाय स्मृतः. धर्मस्य ही अपवर्गस्य. Dharma is meant for upvarga means liberation. Dharma is meant for liberation. Bhagavata mentions dharma is not meant for kama and artha, even though it is following. See, this is very important thing to understand. Like temple is there for spiritual knowledge, for glorification of Lord, for purification of all of us. Yes, our hearts and our service, our attitudes, everything get purified when we engage in service of the Lord. So, and Lord is glorified, Lord Katha is glorified, Lord attributes are glorified in the temple. Okay. Now, side by side also, there is a distribution of prasadam, there is distribution of some social activity going on, side by side also. So what is important? Important is the glorification of the Lord. And automatically the other thing follows. Wherever there is a temple, there is prasadam. It is well understood. In previous time, people used to make prasadam at home also. And they used to go to the temple and then little prasadam. But Prabhupada said that in ISKCON, a lot of prasadams will be distributed, and actually it has to be done. So then it's not that tomorrow we stop temple and then we start distributing prasadam everywhere. Okay, chalo, food for life. Food for life, kevalam prasadi batenge. So again, dharma, if somebody follows, artha and his kam, both are taken care, because dharma will regulate it properly. Because nobody need to be taught that, okay, like Prabhupada used to say, animals are not taught how they should earn money or how they should have sex. They automatically do it. So some kind of education has to be there for it. But then dharma, the real education is for dharma, because we have to restrain our tendency, materialistic tendency. And then dharma should lead a person to liberation. And in between, these two things will be done. But now people, what they think, we want to do these two things, and for this we'll use dharma. This is what misguided thing, what Prabhupada is mentioning here. Therefore, Bhagavatam, why it kicks out dharma as a kam moksha, even though Prabhupada mentions that Vedas provide dharma as kam moksha, because most of the time this dharma as kam moksha is used in this way only. People take it for artha and kama only. They don't take it for apavargasya, dharma se hi apavargasya. Apavarg ke liye nahi lete log. Apavarg means going beyond this material world. They take it that dharma we should do, we should become dharmic, like children go to God, God, please help us get good marks today. Today is my paper. Happy God, happy. I will not, and they will recite some prayers. I will not speak any bad words to others. I will help others. Everything I will do because I have to get good marks. So what is this? He wants something from God. That motive is there. He wants some kind of sense gratification from God, and then he goes and prays. Actually, we should not teach in this way, like, oh God, give us our daily bread. Prabhupada says this is wrong thing. We don't pray. God is anyway giving everyone. We should pray to God, my dear Lord, let me do this service of giving exam or service of learning to please you, to advance in your devotional service. Let me do. So this kind of prayer has to be taught. We don't do mixed devotional service, we do pure devotional service. So people should be guided in this way. Even though we are doing our normal dharma also, but it has to be connected with Apavarga, with Sri Krishna. This is what the teaching of great literatures. Otherwise, people may teach Mahabharata. Okay, Mahabharata padha rahe hain. Mahabharata padha rahe ho, but you have to connect it. Otherwise, Vidura was a pure devotee. When he heard Mahabharata, he was seeing Mahabharata, live Mahabharata, he got frustrated. He left palace and went to Maitreya. I told lot of Mahabharata I have seen. Now I don't want to hear Mahabharata. Speak Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, Vidura's brother is who? Sorry, Vidura's father was Vedvyas, and Vedvyas has written, and he says there in the Bhagavatam, okay, he has written Mahabharata, but that is all politics. I want to hear pure Katha. So then he went to Maitreya Muni and started hearing pure Katha. So those who are really into Mahabharata, or they want to teach Mahabharata, they have to connect it to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, simply Mahabharata will not purify. Only dharma artha kam moksha will not purify, because most of time dharma artha kam moksha is understood in this way only. You do dharma to enjoy. Therefore, this dharma, what Bhagavatam kicks out by telling that this dharma is for apavarga, understand. Then this dharma we will accept. Otherwise not. So unless dharma is guiding us to surrender to Supreme Lord, any kind of dharmic story is not guiding us. So therefore, Bhagavatam rejects all such things. They don't want to accept any intermediate or indirect katha. Finish. This is the reason. And anyone who is teaching also such books, they have to connect it to some way to Krishna, actually. Otherwise, it is not, it may mislead. Because children will see, outside also newspaper saying the same thing, inside also book saying the same thing. What is the difference? Then they will equate both, and they will read newspaper tomorrow. And then why reading newspaper? Why not the Vedic literature? Because it's same there or here. Then you may say, but it purifies, it does not purify. But again, he's not able to see more higher connection. So therefore, the Mahabharata should be taught little later, even if it can be. The stories from Mahabharata which can cultivate devotional service in the children, they should be taught before. And later, the other stories can be taught. Or whatever stories we are teaching, the Sram Evahi Kevalam nahi hona chahiye. Vishnu Katha Rati should come out. Vishnu Katha Rati means he should want to hear more Vishnu Katha, and he wants to develop a love for Vishnu, because time is very less time we have and everybody has. And if we can do this service for anyone, so that is great thing actually. Otherwise then it will be disservice. How Paradharma grants immortality, and one should learn it from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What is mentioned? How Paradharma grants immortality. The path of Vidya is most perfectly presented in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada does not end it here by saying, okay, one should follow what? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha and finish. He goes ahead now. The path of Vidya. Now what is this path of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Here Prabhupada is saying the Vedas are trying to balance avidya in this world with Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Because here Dharma basically meaning to connect to the Apavarga, but the Dharma has to give information of the Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastime. So then we have to come to real Vidya, which is Srimad Bhagavatam or other literatures here. So the path of Vidya is most perfectly presented in Srimad Bhagavatam, which directs a human being to utilize his life to inquire about into absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized in the steps that we know here. The knowledge, okay. The central purpose of this 18 principle is attainment of transcendental devotional service, which we learned 18 items. So I'm not reading everything. You have to go ahead. The guaranteed path to the aim of Vidya is described by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The culture of Vidya is summarized in the Bhagavatam. Tasmadekana manasa bhagavan satvatam pati srotabhya kirtitabhyascha dheyah pujaschya nityada. With one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is protector of all the devotees. With one pointed attention. Okay. No distraction. So this should also happen. This should happen, surely. This is the culture of Vidya. So if somebody, but many times we find among devotees also, the quality which we read, 18 items, sometimes it is not there. So therefore, in this quality, if you read, it is written, one should be respectful, one should not pose as a false pseudo-religionist, one should follow the tenets of scriptures, one should. Why one should? Without hearing from Gurudev, without hearing from Shruti, one cannot be enthusiastic to follow the path of Vidya. Therefore, it is always mentioned, you have to hear from Dhira again and again, remind ourselves our forgetful condition. Oh, I am forgetful, I have to again. Tasma adekena manasa, again I have to hear. So one should. It means the path of Vidya is enlightening us, is encouraging us, and it is giving us the responsibility in our hand, free will. Many times people think religion means just follow karo and everything will change. I will become pure devotee by itself. I say, nahi. Religion is not like putting some color on our body and then tomorrow I will be Vishnu Duta, some golden color. It's not like that. Religion or spirituality means we have to take our free will in our hand and then utilize it to become pure devotee. Krishna gives that free will in our hand. Now you decide when you want to come. As you more advance, you will see that more free will is coming with us. Means Krishna is giving us more freedom. More freedom which is giving. And then that freedom is whether I like to chant, whether I like to hear, I like to glorify, or whether I like to do some material activity. Or how I can please Krishna more and more. So both way Krishna is inspiring us. So culture of Vidya is giving us so much independence because we are going to the independent Lord, and the love can only be done in independence. And we want to love him. So he wants to give us that free will. But when we don't follow the Vedic path, so then we are kept like animals, like Sudras or less than Sudras. They have no free will. Because they can misutilize the free will, they can degrade themselves. So therefore, they are kept under very nasty condition like animals. But those who come to the more Brahmanical position, Brahmanas, they have a lot of freedom. They can control their senses, they control their mind, and then they can see everything so in a harmonious way. And they can practice bhakti without any problem because they are seeing everything in truth. So tasmadekena manasa bhagavan satvatam pati sotabhya kirtitabhya shadheya pujaschya nityada. Unless religion, economic development and sense gratification aim towards attainment of devotional service to the Lord, they are simply different forms of nescience. This is what mentioned. Just see. Jab tak dharma artha kam moksha, which is a path of avidya, means they are trying to balance avidya. If they do not take the person to the path of vidya, means to the Srimad Bhagavatam, then they are simply another form of nescience. So, very clearly mentioned in the last mantra here, that the apara dharma, dharma artha kam moksha, which is mentioning apara dharma or varnashram dharma, this should do haritoshanam, tasmadekena manasa bhagwan satvatampati, ata pumbirduja seshta varnashram vibhagasa sanustasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. So haritoshanam should happen. Then only that path is recommended. Otherwise, not. Otherwise, that leads to the problem. As we saw in previous two verses, that dharma artha kam moksha only. People are reading karma kanda books, but they are only into their karma kanda only, not coming out. They have to read Srimad Bhagavatam. They have to hear from pure devotee, dhira person, so that they can come out of that, understand why it is spoken and where I have to go. So this all they have to follow. Any question? Okay, we'll go ahead. Yes, Madhav Harinam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, one more thing. Please ask question relating to subjects also. Other kind questions can ask because we have less of time. So please, yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. In the here, when we do this devotional service, then do we need economic development for maintenance of body or soul? Because,
yes,
it is said that sense gratification cannot be avoided because our body and mind should be proper. For that, we need economic development. So when we do devotional service, then do we need this?
Surely everyone, see, those who are into this world, in this world, whosoever is living, he has to eat, he has to utilize material commodity for his sustenance, and everything comes with some charge, some payment. Yes, money is the main thing. Yes, please mute yourself somewhere. Okay, so money again, the money is Lakshmi. She should be engaged in service of Narayan. Okay. So therefore, it is mentioned when proper varnashram system is there, the money, the channel of money, how it should be used. They should be given to charity to the brahmanas, and then how much it should be utilized for this purpose, that purpose. Everything is there in the scriptures. So money is not condemned. How you use the money, if it is misused, then it is condemned. Because everything is the energy of the Lord. And that's why it is mentioned in all three verses. We have to understand Vidya and Avidya. If you don't understand, and then our Goswamis, they say that if you reject something which can be used in Lord's service, so then that is also Avidya in one sense. That is Falgu Vairagya. So money is required, and we have to be trained how to use the money properly. Our whole mission is going on. Money is required. Money, resources, all manpower, everything is required. And they are material resources. So they have to be devoted in service of Lord. Yes. Okay. Okay, Prabhuji, Madhav Arnapu, done?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Yamuna Vilaspur.
Yes, my question was, here it is mentioned that, the religion, economic development and sense gratification, it should lead us to attainment of devotional service to the Lord. How sense gratification we can, attain devotional service of the Lord by sense gratification? Like, can you elaborate on that?
Lead us to that. See, Krishna mentions in the 3.26 third chapter of 26th sloka, Jo says Sarva Karmani. So we have come to devotional service. We are not Goswamis right now. When you become Goswamis, then then nidra, ahar, vihara, vijito. Then you are above all nidra, ahar. That time no sense gratification. But to maintain this body, everyone needs something to eat, somewhere to sleep, and then to maintain family, they need money, and then produce children, they need sense gratification. Actually, these things are there. It cannot be avoided immediately. So then Shastra says it has to be engaged, devoted in service of Krishna. Like Krishna says, Kamo asmi bharatar sabha. I am their lust, I am the Kama. So then one has to understand that Krishna is the Kama. So then they have to do proper Garbhadan Sanskar and produce good children. Not to say that don't produce children or don't marry. It's not an instruction of Shastra. If somebody wants to marry, he should marry and then he should produce good children through proper sanskaras. So this has to be followed. So sense gratification has to be first devoted in service of God. It's like we discussed earlier also in previous slokas. From beginning only we are discussing in Isopanishad that first bring God into our sense gratification. Don't give up immediately sense gratification does not mean again like illegal one. Like okay, somebody is you can say eating meat. Now this eating meat, at least then he's a very new person. Okay, then what we can suggest, you eat some soybean. Soybean sabji you can eat. Don't eat meat, eat some soybean sabji. That is also tasting like meat. Okay, we eat. Or we say, okay, you eat meat once in a month, twice in a month, something you give him some regulation. Okay, like Vedas, they give regulation. And then when you start eating prasadam, then he will ask, Prabhuji, I want to advance. And here I see devotees not eating onion, garlic. So then we can say, yes, you can also practice. It is possible. Everybody is practicing. It is possible for you also. Okay, Prabhuji, I will do that. I will ask my mother or my wife to make like that. Okay. So then he will progress more. So now just see, he is devoting his sense gratification in Krishna service now. And that will make him advance. Like those, like it is mentioned in the religious scripture in Bhagavad Gita also, like Grahasthas, their dharma is to give charity. So when they give charity to Krishna or Brahmanas, so then they will advance through that because they are using their energy to earn money. And when they give that money to Krishna or service to Krishna, then they will advance because they are using the result of their karma. That is what Varnashrama. So sense gratification, whatever we are doing, so that result has to be offered to Krishna. And then what happens when we keep on offering our result? So then slowly we are getting detached from that. The reaction of our work as well as the attachment to the result. We are getting detached. Then we are coming to Niskam Karma Yoga. And then the renunciation develops. Therefore, in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, anybody who is giving dravya dan, like any commodity you are giving dan to Krishna, it should be for development of transcendental knowledge. It should be not for that, okay, today I'm giving, I will get more in next life, therefore I'm giving. The consciousness should be what? I'm giving to advance in bhakti. If that consciousness it is done, so then Krishna says that is real donation actually, that is real charity. And then that person will advance in transcendental knowledge. So any kind of activity which we do in this material world, it has to advance in transcendental knowledge, our relationship with Krishna. So then that activity is sublime activities, divine activity. That is what is mentioned here also. The dharmartha kamoksha has to bring us to the sublime connection with Krishna through katha, through hearing. Is tasmad ekena manasa bhagwan satvatam pati. Srotabhya kirtitabhya, always hearing and doing his kirtan. So that should be the result. Oh, I love Krishna so much. I have given charity to Krishna. So now the Krishna will come in our heart and he will incite, okay, you gave me this charity. With this charity, I am enjoying. So now I will give you enjoyment now. So then devotees enjoy by doing the kirtan, by having celebration of festivals. Devotees enjoy. Or he used his money for celebration. He called sadhus at his home. He have Bhagavatam Katha. Then he has Bhagavatam distribution, Prabhupada book distribution. So he's using his money for all this purpose, for preaching purpose. So in this way, the sense gratification is used for advancement in Krishna consciousness. It has to be done. Otherwise, it degrades the soul because then one goes for sinful activity. Many people earning a lot of money. What they are using for? They have a lot of tension. I will earn, but where they will use? No tension. Because anyway, the Maya is going to take away the money and use it for sense enjoyment or sinful things. Therefore, they have to be properly engaged. Okay. We'll go ahead now. So now we are going to another section. Yes. Now this asambhuti and sambhuti. These word terminology we will understand. Comparison of worship, sambhuti and asambhuti. Okay, we understood vidya and avidya. The vidya is actually transcendental knowledge, taking us to back to Godhead or connecting us to Supreme Lord. Avidya means the knowledge of this world. This knowledge of this world should not be used for sense gratification. It should be used for dharmasya apavargasya. It should be used to uplift us to the transcendental realm. It should help us. Avidya should also help, and vidya should guide us directly. Kidhar jana. But avidya should also help. Avidya should be minimal, not much. Otherwise, it can be problemsome. So, and balancing avidya and vidya, we will approach to the kingdom of Godhead at the end of our life. Now, next thing, we have to choose the deity whom we are worshipping in our mind, in our heart. So this verse is for this section 4 is for that. Asambhuti and sambhuti. Asambhuti leads to darkness. Sambhuti leads to greater darkness. So asambhuti means which is not permanent, which is temporary, which is called asambhuti. Sambhuti means which is permanent, substantial, long-lasting. So if somebody is worshipping sambhuti, which is long-lasting, it can lead to greater darkness. We will see how. And sambhuti, asambhuti, who are worshipping the temporary people or temporary deities, so they lead to lower darkness, but it takes to greater darkness. Second, result of worshipping sambhuti and asambhuti. So what happens, sambhuti and sambhuti here? If you are worshipping something permanent and something non-permanent, so what are the results? Same context. Context is changing, but the same kind of comparison is made as we saw in the previous section. Same thing. Darkness going to greater darkness. Then what is the result of culture of sambhuti worship, culture of asambhuti worship? And then last thing, how you have to balance sambhuti and asambhuti, which grants immortality. Same thing. Okay. So just 1 minute, I will open. So, in mantra 12, asambhuti refers to demigod and sambhuti refers to worshippers of absolute truth, but they are impersonalist. In mantra 13, asambhuti refers to anything other than Supreme Lord, like philanthropic activity, nationalistic activities, social activities, anything. That is asambhuti. And then sambhuti means Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the 14th, the knowledge of material world and knowledge of spiritual world. What is vinasin? Means the word vinas comes here in asambhuti. In this place, vinas word comes. So that means basically what is going to finish if you worship that. What will that has to be balanced with which is not going to finish, spiritual knowledge or spiritual world, spiritual Lord. So then same thing are discussed like in previous section. Okay, we'll go ahead now. Anya devahu sambhavad. Okay, this is 13th. Okay, 1 minute. Andham tamah pravisanti ye sambhuti mupasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yavu sambhutyam rataha. Those who are engaged in worship of demigod enter into darkest region of ignorance and still more so do the worshipper of impersonal absolute. So here Asambhutim refers to demigod worship and Sambhuti refers to Supreme Lord's worship. Okay. The Sanskrit word Asambhuti refers to those who have no independent existence. Sambhuti is the absolute personality of Godhead who is absolutely independent of everything. In Bhagavad Gita 10.2, Name vidu suragana prabhavam nama harshaya aham adirhi devanam harsinam cha sarvasaha. Neither the host of demigod nor the great sages know my origin or opulences. For in every respect, I am the source of demigods and sages. Thus, Krishna is the origin of power delegated to demigods, great sages and mystics. Although they are endowed with great powers, these powers are limited and thus it is very difficult for them to know how Krishna himself appears by his own internal potency in the form of man. Many philosophers and great rishis or mystics try to distinguish the absolute from the relative by their tiny brain power. This can only help them reach the negative conception of absolute truth without realizing any positive trace of absolute. Definition of the absolute by negation is not complete. Such negative definitions lead one to create a concept of one's own. Thus one imagines that the absolute must be formless and without qualities. Such negative qualities are simply the reversals of relative material qualities and are therefore also relative. By conceiving of the absolute in this way, one can at most reach the impersonal effulgence of God known as Brahman, but one cannot make further progress to Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Such mental speculators do not know that absolute personality of Godhead is Krishna, that the impersonal Brahman is glaring effulgence of its transcendental body, or that the Paramatma, the super soul, is his all-pervading plenary representation. Nor do they know that Krishna has the eternal form and its transcendental qualities of eternal bliss and knowledge. The dependent demigods and great sages imperfectly consider him to be powerful demigod, and they consider the Brahman effulgence to be the absolute truth. But the devotees of Krishna, by the dint of the surrendering unto him in unalloyed devotion, can know that he is the absolute person and that everything emanates from him. Such devotee continuously render loving devotional service unto Krishna, the fountainhead of everything. So, demigod, great sages, mystics cannot understand Lord Krishna by their own powers, but devotees easily understand. So, we see in the Leela of Govardhan, Leela, Lord Indra, these demigods, they had come during the time Krishna was in the womb of Mother Devaki, and they sung the prayer Garbha Stuti. They sung the prayer, Brahma, Shiva, everybody came, and they sung the prayer. And they were also watching different events. Later, they also had come in Dwarka when Krishna was there. Okay, later pastime was there. But you find he got totally bewildered because his worship was stopped by Lord Krishna. And then he thought, he is such a talkative boy. He does not have knowledge of Vedas. He is such a small boy. And trying to convince all elderly people. And these foolish elderly people, they got convinced with his talkative propensities. Just some talks he made and then they got convinced and they stopped my worship. He became very much offended by such behavior of Krishna and immediately decided that he would call Samantha cloud so that he will devast, destroy the whole Vrindavan. So he could also not understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is how it happens actually. Many times when we hear in Parampara, so we hear, so fortunately God has given that much freedom to humans that they can understand and they can be active, conscious that time while they're hearing. But after we hear, when it comes to practice, we forget. Or some inner disturbances are there which avoids us to behave fully Krishna conscious way. Yes, we then come to our Swabhava and start following what we can do. But while hearing, we like it very much. Oh, such a nice, if I could be devotee like him. But then after hearing, when we come out of class, then again it starts the same thing. Then we get frustrated. I want to be, but I cannot be. I want to chant like proper Haridas Thakur. I want to chant without sleeping. I want to chant with the proper, unmotivated, uninterrupted, no material desires, but still something is stopping me. So one day I like to chant, and another day, oh, I'm chanting. I have to finish my 16 rounds. So it happens with us also. We forget. So our position is not so big like Lord Indra. Here it is mentioned the name of big people. And these big people have not become big, or they are like here Tata, Birla. They are very big, very pious people, done so many yagyas in previous life. And they have done a lot of tapasya like Maharishi, and Devanam. They do not understand me. Name Vidu Suragana. Then how they understand Lord? They understand him, okay, he can be more powerful demigod. Like Prabhupada mentions, they may misunderstand that he may be more powerful demigod. Or if those who are little gyanis, they may put their brain, okay, Supreme Lord is not material. So not material means neti. He is ultimately light, Brahman. They cannot go beyond Brahman. So melted speculators, they may at last understand him to be impersonal Brahman. And demigods, they may try their intelligence, understand he can be more powerful demigod. But that much only. So therefore, how to understand Supreme Personality of Godhead? Deva Krishna is saying, because I am the origin of all these people, they cannot understand me without my mercy. And his mercy is the devotional service actually. So here Prabhupada clearly mentions this all. They can at most reach to the impersonal effulgence of God. Who? Gyanis. And other people like the dependent demigods and great sages imperfectly consider him to be powerful demigod. Okay, he's more powerful. So Indra thought, what? If he's having some more power, I have also some the cloud and it can rain. It is used for devastation of the universe. So Krishna has some power. I will show greater power. So then he thought that he can be little more powerful, but I will use my own more power to defeat him. This happens. But devotees, they understand Krishna cannot be defeated. Krishna can only be defeated in love. And otherwise, we are all subordinate to him. So devotees always understand the real position of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the meaning of understanding the real position of Supreme Personality of Godhead, that always to take his shelter. Not envy him, not understand that I can become supreme, not think that he is exploiting me, or he is not my well-wisher, he is tricking me, or he is giving me a lot of seva, he wants to make me servant. We have to understand everything in a positive way. I am his loving servant. Many times we say, I am his servant. No, we add the word, I am his loving servant. So then it will be more good. I am his loving servant. I want to love Krishna. I want to serve Krishna. Okay. So, Anurag Prabhuji, can you read? Motive behind worshipping demigod.
Motive behind worshipping demigods. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.2023, it is said that only unintelligent, bewildered persons driven by a strong sense of desire for sense gratification worship the demigods for the temporary relief of temporary problems. Since the living being is materially entangled, he has to be relieved from material bondage entirely to attain permanent relief on the spiritual plane, where eternal bliss, life, and knowledge exist. Sri Ishopanishad therefore instructs that we should not seek temporary relief of our difficulties by worshipping the dependent demigods, who can bestow only temporary benefit. Rather, we must worship the absolute personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is all attractive and who can bestow upon us complete freedom from material bondage by taking us back home, back to Godhead.
Yes, we can read ahead also.
Different ways of reaching demigods, planets, and nature of such planets. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.23 that the worshippers of demigods can go to the planets of the demigods. The moon worshippers can go to the moon, the sun worshippers go to the sun, etc. Modern scientists are now venturing to the moon with the help of rockets, but this is not really a new attempt. With their advanced consciousness, human beings are naturally inclined to travel in outer space and to reach other planets, either by spaceships, mystic powers, or demigod worship. In the Vedic scriptures, it is said that one can reach other planets by one of these three ways, but the most common way is by worshipping the demigods presiding over a particular planet. In this way, one can reach the moon planet, the sun planet, or even Brahmalok, the topmost planet in this universe. However, all planets in this material universe are temporary residences. The only permanent planets are Vaikuntha Lokas. These are found in the spiritual sky where the personality of Godhead himself predominates. As Lord Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita 8.16, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punar Avartino Arjuna Mam Upete tu Kaunteya Punar Janmana Vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
Okay. So demigod cannot understand the supreme personality of Godhead. So what to speak of living entity who are living in this world? For them also to approach Lord will be difficult. So only path is devotional service. But again, devotional service should not be exploited. Because proper spiritual master is required, bona fide, then only he can propagate. Otherwise, we also find after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and when he left, there's so many upper sampradaya came. Many upper sampradaya, Aula, Baula, aise karke, bahut sare sampradaya, which are not authentic. So this is also risk actually. To propagate the right thing in this world also is affected with some contamination. Because Kale Yoga Nashta Parantapa. Krishna says that how whatever I preached to the sun god, and then people took it like great kings, they took it, they may have mispreached here and there, and then the knowledge got lost. Yoga Nashta Parantapa. So therefore, I'm again explaining to you. So therefore, here it is mentioned in the Vedas, जानबूझ के बताया भी गया है कि everybody may not go to supreme personality of Godhead, so they are mentioned that you should worship demigod. Okay, you should worship demigod to fulfill your desire for sense gratification. Then why Upanishad here says that he will go to more darker, he will go to darker region? Why it is said? Because again, Upanishad wants to keep the person there only. Upanishad's goal is to connect the person to absolute truth, and for that he has to say that the worship of demigod will take you to the cycle of repeated birth and death. And so that is called the darker region. The repeated birth and death is the darker region, because next life where you will be born, nobody knows. Like Nirga, he did so many pious activity. In Krishna book it comes, Nirga, King Nirga. But he did one mistake. And that mistake was also what? Like he gave donation of, it is mentioned the number of particles on the earth, that many cows he had donated. It's difficult to imagine. So many cows, how can he donate? Number of particles, dust particles on earth. How can he donate so much cows? Such a big pious king. And he gave cows to one Brahmana, and then that cow somehow ran away from his custody and went to the garden of king. And then again the king did not know, because he is giving so many cows to so many people. How he would come to know that this cow was donated to him? And he took that cow and donated to somebody else. And then that Brahmana this Brahmana came to know that this my cow has come to other Brahmana. So then he went to king with this another Brahmana and started fighting. How can you give my cow to him? You have given in charity to me. The king said, my dear Brahmana, Bhudev, I do not know. Please forgive me. This cow was there in my cow shed, and then I gave. So then he said, no, it is not good. And then he said, give back my cow. So then he requested this Brahmana, I will give you 1,000 of the cow, please return back. He told, no, I will not give only. Even if you give me 1,000 cow, I will not give. Now these brahmanas have some problem among themselves, and this iske beech mein king phas gaya. King got trapped, and then they cursed brahmana that he will become lizard, and he became lizard. So just little one mistake, he became lizard. So material world is like that actually, more darker. Do little mistake, it may take us to greater darkness actually. So even demigod worship also, even though it is given for utilizing our tendency to accept some superior and then ask him some benediction to fulfill, but that can also cause destruction, because we may become attached to sense gratification and keep on asking, oh my demigod. Like you find many worshippers of different gods, they claim that he is the supreme god, nobody superior, because they do not read Vedas. They just come to somebody and he fulfills your desire, then they become worshippers or fan of him. Therefore it is mentioned in Upanishad ki this demigod worship may kill one's spiritual propensities, or he may not advance further. So you will go to more darker region. Anyway, he has to do repeated birth and death. So instruct us that we should not seek temporary relief of difficulty by worshipping dependent gods. And even they are also not free from material bondage. And Prabhupada mentions there are different ways of going to demigod loka. By Sputnik, so no one can go. And even if they are able to go, okay, let us take like Ravana, he wanted to go by making stairs. So some mechanical means they whatever they wanted to make. Prabhupada says if they go also, but the most general process was in Vedic times by worshipping demigod. And wherever you go, you have to come back. So in Bhagavad Gita, this is very nicely compared, the demigod worship. This is 7.20 and 7.20 ahead. So who worship demigod? Those who have material desire. Take 1 minute, I will open it. कामस्थस्थित ज्ञान प्रपदन्ते अन्न देवताः तम तम नियममास्थाय प्रकृत्या नियताः स्वया. Those whose mind are distorted by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own nature. According to their nature, they take up some, okay, I have a nature, I am a tamoguna person, so I will go to Lord Shiva, I will worship. Because tamoguna person, he will have tamoguna desires. So then he will go to Lord Shiva, or he will worship some Bhoot Pisach. So these people, they have material desires. Their minds are distorted by material desires. So they surrender to demigod. Don't think that somebody can become devotee of, okay, if somebody wants to become devotee of demigods, so then these people are also guided further. Like there are many stories who want to become devotee of demigods, and then they were guided further. Most of us also were devotee of some Hanuman or some Shankar earlier, and then we were guided somehow in heart or to somebody that we become devotee of Krishna. So again, this is also seen, those who are looking for pure thing and they go to demigod further guide them, you go to Krishna. Like we hear the story of one Brahmana went to Lord Shiva, and then he pleased Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva appeared. He asked him, what do you want? He said that, what is best thing you have, please give me. So he said that, okay, you go to Sanatan Goswami. There is a Goswami Sanatan. You go to him and ask him whatever he has. Actually, that Brahmana wanted some riches. So he went and asked Lord Shiva riches. So he said, you go to Sanatan, he had a very, very valuable jewel. So you just go and ask him. Then he went and asked him. And Sanatan Goswami said that, okay, you go to the dustbin, that dustbin, there is some muddy. You go and pick it up. By touching that to anything, it will become gold. So you just take it. So then that Brahmana went and took out that valuable money, and then he went. And then he was thinking, why this was thrown in dustbin? It should be at some very proper place. It means this Goswami has something better with him. That's why he is thrown into dustbin. Let me go and ask him. Then he went and asked, Goswami ji, if it is very valuable, then why it was in dustbin? Then he said that actually it is not valuable for me. I have something more valuable with me. Oh, you have something more valuable. Can you give me that? Okay, if you want that, then go and throw this into Yamuna, this jewel, and then come back. So then this person went and threw, and then he came, and then Sanatana Goswami gave him Diksha, Harinam Diksha, and he told him to chant holy names of Lord. Just imagine. Means our Acharya has such a great estimation of this process of bhakti. The bhakti is so superior. It is mentioned, Vrindavana, the bhakti of Vrindavana is so superior that even dust of Vaikuntha also cannot compare. One dirt or Chintamani of Vaikuntha also cannot compare the love of Vrindavan Vasis. So, but when it is achieved in a cheap way, so then many times we disregard or neglect it. But here, Sanatana Goswami is showing that what is the most important wealth in life, a devotional service. So here, those who approach to the demigod with the proper intention that they want to basically achieve the highest thing in the life, then the demigods also further guide them. Okay, go to this person, and then you will have a higher knowledge. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhaya architam ichhati tasya chalam shraddham tam eva vidadhamyaham. I am in everyone's heart as a super soul. As soon as one desires to worship the demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to some particular demigod. It means the faith in any kind of particular demigod is given by Krishna. Because Krishna has made the Vedic literature and he knows that everyone cannot come back to me. So then he has put some of his ministers, administrators, that you stay there in material world and you also have certain desires. So you fulfill your desire and people will worship you. And because you are my administrators, so by worshipping you, they are following the Vedic path. And in all worship of demigod, there is a Narayan mantra, Bija mantra of Narayan. By chanting that Narayan, they will get purified slowly, and they will ultimately come back to me. The whole process is like that. So then Krishna establishes faith for that particular demigod in the heart of worshipper of demigod. He establishes that faith. Here Krishna mentions, I establish. Sataya Shraddhaya Yuktas Tasyaradhanam Ihate Labhate Chata Tatah Kamam Maeva Bihitan Hitan. Endowed with such faith, he seeks favor of a particular demigod and obtain his desire. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me. Now, this is Krishna was saying, not only I give the faith, I also give the benedictions from behind. You may be in front, but I only give the benefits which are you are giving. Basically, I have given to you and you are giving to him. So then Krishna is saying that also. Antavantu phalam tesham tad bhakta alpamedasam tad bhavatya alpamedasam devan deva yajo yanti mad bhakta yanti mamapi. This is very important. Men of a small intelligence worship demigods and their fruits are limited and temporary. Who worship the demigods go to the planets of demigod, but my devotees ultimately reach to my supreme planet. This is important thing. So why we should not worship demigod worship? For those who are very materialistic, hardcore materialist, godless people, for them, okay, they want to come to the Vedic path to worship demigod. But those who now know what is the goal of life, who is the absolute truth, they should not worship demigods. They should directly worship Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the demigods, worshippers, basically they look for fruits from them, which are very temporary, and they're miser people, mean-minded people. So therefore, their worships are mentioned also in the Vedas, but it is also said it is not necessary. For whom? Those who are advanced. Yes. The problems of life cannot be solved by reaching planets of demigod within the dark material universe, but by reaching effulgent kingdom of God. See, Ishopanishad points out that one who worships demigod attains the material planet still remains in darkest region of universe. The whole universe is covered by gigantic material universe elements. It is just like coconut covered by a cell and half filled with water. Since its covering is airtight, the darkness within it is dense, and therefore the sun and moon are required for illumination. This is basically told about our universe. It is a Brahmanda, which is fully closed. There are 7 layers which are covering Brahmanda, very thick layers. And then inside there's a Garbhodak ocean, Garbhodak Sagar, and on that Sagar, Garbhodakshai Vishnu is lying, and from his navel, Brahma is coming. And then in the stem of that, all the planets are revolving. All the things are there in the stem of that lotus, golden lotus. Therefore, it is called Hiranyagarbha. From that golden lotus, who is born? Brahma is born. That golden lotus, Brahma is born. The biggest and highest planet in the Brahma Jyoti is Krishna Loka. So beyond this material universe is Vaikuntha, and Vaikuntha Loks ke upar kya hai? Krishna Lok. That is the biggest planet. The Lord is present everywhere, just like a sun, and yet he is situated. Okay. The problem of life cannot be solved simply by going to the moon planet or some other planet. Therefore, Ishopanishad advises us not to bother with any destination within the dark material universe, but try to get out of this and reach the effulgent kingdom of Godhead. So, there is also sloka in Srimad Bhagavatam that one should not endeavor for anything which is obtainable in this world. One should endeavor for going beyond this material world. Okay. Now, how much it is remaining? It is now still there. So one thing, now we have 1, 2, 3. I think 3 classes are remaining. 3 classes are remaining, and we have to complete. Right now, we are on 11th mantra. 12th mantra. 12th mantra is half finished. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 6 are there. So 3 classes. So what I am proposing here, that all of devotees here, you can come with the reading of all the purports and paragraph of Srila Prabhupada. So I will only discuss the important points. Next time when we'll take the class, so you come with a reading of all the paragraphs of all the slokas. So next time again we'll try to finish 2 chapters. So with this 2, we'll try to finish. So you can do the reading beforehand so that it will be easy, because right now we are taking time in reading also. So if you have done the reading before, then I will take the important points in the paragraph, and then on that we will discuss. Okay, any questions someone has?
Can we extend the timeline? Can we increase 1 or 2 class more?
All of you can decide together with the team here.
That would be more.
It may take 1 more class extra. I cannot say about it, because later from this chapter onward, the purports of Srila Prabhupada are very long. Very long purports are there. So we will try to finish, because everything has to be done within some sort of time limit. So you come with that, and we'll see. We should also read the purports, and then we should discuss. Otherwise, then what happens? Many times we have heard that also, like Bhakti Shastri lectures, purports are not discussed only, and something else. Then what happens? Like whole knowledge is carried away. Then we only hear what person is speaking, and what Prabhupada is speaking we did not hear. I don't want that thing to happen. Even though while we are reading it here, we cannot be so much concentrated unless you read at your home. The reading time is separate and learning time is separate. Learning is happening at different place and reading at different place. So you must have to read also while writing your open books, closed book, and other things. So reading, you please do it at your place. And if it goes 1 class more, so I will request all of you, or you be prepared for that. Any question? Okay, Yamuna will ask you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Like my question is, will the exam get postponed? Because the devotees were asking this question. I have asked this question to Adi Bhagwan Prabhu also, but I haven't got any reply. So will the exam get postponed because of
what is the date for exam?
The open book, it was 9th of July, Prabhuji. And just a second.
See, our class will go till 15th. 8th, 9th, and 15th is the last class according to schedule. 15th will be last class. Okay, and 16th is the orientation for, I think, next speaker or next. Okay, so if I may take 16 also, so then we can postpone it till. I have to discuss with Adi Bhagwan too, because I am also not aware of it. I will discuss with him.
I think it is 20th of July, Prabhuji. That's what I remember. But yeah, I will check. The final exam, closed book exam, I guess.
20th of July.
Yeah, open book is 9th July.
So what do you want? What is you wanting this batch?
Closed book was 15 or 16.
Okay, one week you want to postpone, yes?
If possible, Roji, we can arrange one class in middle of week, and if someone is unable to attend that, they can hear the lecture like recording. But postponing whole thing will be like postponing the course only, because then Bhagavad Gita will postpone, then Anodi will postpone, and it will go on.
Okay, see, 15th is scheduled now because one weekend we went for Rath Yatra. So one day we left there. And now, according to previous schedule, it should finish by 9th.
Yeah,
yes,
sorry,
9th is the 9th it should finish. But now because one Sunday we spent it in Rath Yatra, so therefore it went to 15 now. So 15 is scheduled. Okay.
Yeah, 15th is the exam, closed book exam, Praji. Sorry, not 20th of July.
So yes, 15 is there. So if I have to take class, I will take 15 or 16. Okay, 15 and one more day, 16. Why? Because I am busy actually. I am going for some Kartik Yatra Seva. So I will not be available in between of the week to give any class. So 15 and 16. 15 is the scheduled lecture. It will be there. Now 16. I will request even BBRB team if they can provide one more class. So then okay. Otherwise, we will be trying to finish it till 15. And regarding open book, I will discuss with Adi Bhagwan too. So how many of devotees they want time? All devotees want time. Postponing.
Yes, once syllabus is completed, we can have.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji. I think once the syllabus is covered, then we can have exams, basically.
Okay, I will request you. Chalega. शील प्रभुपाद की जय। वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। शील प्रभुपाद की जय।